If you want something done right, then you go to a professional, you go to a specialist. And when it comes to small cars, well, Suzuki is that specialist. What we have here is the new generation Suzuki Celerio. What started out as a sub-brand, sub-variant of the Alto became a standalone model for the second generation. This one is the third. Now, from the design, clearly much has changed. The predecessor was more angular, was more boxy. In this one, they went for more curves. I mean, look at the shape of the hood, the shape of the headlights, the grille, the smiling front bumper, even these whiskers. It really does remind me of a puppy dog that's happy to see me when I get home. Now, when we go over to the side, clearly much has changed because when it comes to length, it's now 4 inches longer. It's also 2 inches wider. But something a lot of you will appreciate is that they raised up the ground clearance to 170 millimeters from 145. That means it's a full 1 inch taller off the ground than the previous model. Of course, those of you who like something sporty, you like those nice wheels in black. But what's nice here though is that Suzuki made a change with the A-pillar of this. Before it was like this, it was a bit more raked. This one, it's a bit more upright. What that gives you is more room inside, and that's something Suzuki really worked on. But first, let's go to the back. Clearly, the back of the Celerio has changed by quite a bit. I mean, they have these new taillights right here. They call them the teardrop taillights. New rear bumper, rear wiper, rear washer right there. It even has reflectors down here and 2 parking sensors, 1 and 2. Now, once you start opening up the cargo area, then you can see some of the advantages of the Celerio. They increased the volume of the cargo to 295 liters. And the maximum length from here up to the back of the rear seats is about 25 inches. That's plenty of cargo space. But wait, there's more. You can actually start playing around with the cargo area of the Celerio, removing the tonneau cover right there. And then these two are actually fold down just like before. However, the real difference, it's a 60-40 fold. And in that configuration, you can fit more stuff into the back of your Celerio. When you sit in the back seat of the Celerio, that's when you realize that Suzuki's specialty really is small cars. Because in a lot of small cars, the rear seat is kind of ignored. It's not prioritized. And in this one, clearly it is, because knee room is really good, unless you have a really tall guy driving. You've got adjustable headrests. You've got a nice cushioning on these seats. You've also got better shoulder width here. Suzuki says it's been improved by about 20 millimeters for the left passenger and for the right passenger. Yeah, good deal of knee room. You've got bottle holders on either door, central door locks, and power window switches right there in the middle. You know what? Let's go up in front so I can explain why it's over there. So here's the dashboard of the all-new Celerio. But before we get to it, we need to talk about how car makers make cars efficiently. Not just when it comes to fuel economy, but in the production process. And we can see that right here. Now, we discussed that power window switches are right here in the middle for the back. For the front, it's right up here. Now, why did Suzuki do that, and why do car makers do that? It's simple. It's to make the vehicles more efficient when it comes to the assembly process, when it comes to parts, because having this panel here is more efficient. It also avoids having to engineer one for left-hand drive and right-hand drive, and it saves 2 more switches because you only have 2 panels, one for the front and one for the rear. Pretty smart. Whatever Suzuki saves when it comes to like switches or whatever else they can find, they can put into making a better vehicle. And you can see that with the design of the dashboard. I mean, it definitely looks far more interesting than many affordable cars on the market. Even the audio system, the way it sits proud of the dashboard, is pretty nice. You look around here, what else do you see? They even improved the steering wheel, and it has audio controls for volume, for next track and mute, that kind of thing. You look at the instrument panel, it looks very different. Suzuki didn't go for the conventional dual binnacle or two bezel design when it comes to the instrument cluster. They have a large speedometer and then a multi-info display that also doubles as your tachometer. Pretty good. To the left of the steering column, you'll find the nicer features of the Celerio. The power mirror adjustment, you've got the rear sensor switch for parking sensors. You've also got the stability control button. Yes, this one has ABS and stability control. And then right beside it, you have EASS, which is the engine auto start-stop system. What that does is basically it saves you fuel when you're stuck in traffic. And here in front is your audio system. It's a 2-DIN unit, it's a touchscreen, and yes, it's a Sony. Unfortunately, it doesn't have Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, but it does have Bluetooth and USB input right there, as well as smartphone mirroring. So all well and good. Here in the middle, you've got your AC system with 4 positions, and you've got many types of settings depending on where you want the air to come out. So that's pretty good. Right down here, you've got your 12-volt outlet, which is good. So if you want to plug in all kinds of chargers and stuff, you can do it right there. But what's unique here is this, because it's a very different type of automatic shifter, because it doesn't say PRND, it says RND and just M. Now that is very different compared to a lot of other vehicles in the market. And to explain why, let's go check what's under the hood. What you'll find under the hood of the Suzuki Celerio is a 1-liter 3-cylinder naturally aspirated engine. It makes 67 horsepower and 89 Newton meters of torque. Now it may seem very familiar, but the engine is totally different from the previous Celerio we had in our market. Because this is not the K10B, this is the K10C, and it has several key improvements. Now, when it comes to transmissions, this one is offered with either a 5-speed manual or the AGS or auto gear shift, which is Suzuki's name for their automated manual transmission. Suzuki is launching 4 color options for the 2022 Suzuki Celerio. You can get it in red, white, gray, or blue. Now, all trim grades are GL, and you can have it either with the manual or the AGS. The manual version, it costs 708,000 pesos, but this GL AGS, it retails for 754,000 pesos. Whichever you choose, Suzuki promises to deliver a very efficient and enjoyable everyday car. Let us know in the comments below what you think of the all-new Suzuki Celerio, and don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss it when we do our full review of this in the near future.